when he came on and he acknowledged Glenn Jacobs as Kane, what if he made him, what if Glenn Jacobs became the perfect candidate for vice president?
Welcome to an all-new episode of the Wrestling Time Machine by Sportskeeda. You can find us on YouTube under WrestleBinge, and most of our stuff you can find even in the print. You can find us on Twitter. You'll find us everywhere. But wherever you go, make sure you subscribe. Go right down below here and hit that subscribe button. My name is Mac Davis. I am your host, and along with me are my two co-hosts every single week. First of all, he is a legendary pro wrestling journalist, Mr. Bill Apter, and also our WWE Hall of Fame, Hall of Famer, Bill's delayed, I think, Hall of Famer Teddy Long. Hey, Teddy. I think Bill may be a little bit behind us. I got a feeling we have to.
I imagine these people wonder why every week we open up this show that I'm laughing. You people just don't understand. Oh, yeah. Working with these two guys are great. Absolutely fantastic. And both of them are just tremendously funny. So they are always doing something that always has me laughing. So.
I got to tell you, I'm in one of those moods. I know Bill's had a rough day, and we're about to talk to Bill about that. But I'm having one of those points right now where I'm in just in a really kind of a good, kind of wacky kind of mood. I'm one of those fly me to the moon. Remember that song, Teddy?
Oh, yeah.
Good song, Bill. I know you could probably do the karaoke to that.
I remember the Dean Martin version. Take me to your room.
Bill,
wait for the laugh. It doesn't work.
The reason we're all kind of laughing around, it's a little bit later than we normally do this because Bill got caught up in a snowstorm or an ice storm. What was going on today, Bill?
Oh, it doesn't matter. No, it's a lot of ice and snow and lots of other stuff going on. One of those days, but I'm glad to be here. Got my Tic Tacs and ready to go and chat about the wonderful world of pro wrestling with my two best buddies.
Well, before we get out,
they didn't show up, so I'm going to stay with you guys.
Well, while we are talking about winter weather, Teddy, I've got to ask you to tell a story here because every time I think of winter weather and I hear about snow, I can't help but think about the story I heard about you driving a car in the snow and leaving another WWE Hall of Famer stranded in the blizzard of a snow. Tell us the story.
So now you want me to go to tell you?
Go ahead. Tell the truth, Teddy.
Getting them in trouble.
Well, there are a lot of people that have heard this story, but for some of you people that haven't, it was me, JBL, Godfather, and Ron Simmons. And so we're driving, I think, from Syracuse back to Albany. So as we get ready for the ride, we get our beer and everything, and so we're drinking. And so, when you start drinking a lot of beer, you got to, take a bathroom break.
Yeah.
So we couldn't find no bathroom or nothing, it's snowing, man. So we just pull off to the side of the road. So everybody got out like one at a time, stood behind the van there and took a bathroom break. And so I was the first guy out, so I jumped right back in. So I'm not really paying much attention, I think I see JBL gets back in, Godfather, I'm, just waiting on everybody to get in. So finally, Godfather gets in, so, I close the door and I start the truck and I drive off. So JBL looks at me and says, "What the are you doing?" I said, "What are you talking about?" He said, "You just left Ron in the snow back there." Damn! So, but I'm like almost about a half a mile, almost a mile down now. So, in New York, Bill can tell you this, you got to go 10 to 15 miles to get to an exit before you can get off. So I'm like, I ain't doing that. So I pull over to the side, I get back on the side road there, and I bag all the way up almost a mile, all the way back down the side. In the snow. And when I finally arrive, I see Ron. He's covered he's white. He's covered in snow because it's a blizzard.
The only time you'll find him white.
Oh, yeah. And so when I opened the door there to let him in, and he said this before he ever started selling that on TV. He looks right in at me and he says, "Damn, Long." And that was before he even started saying damn, yeah.
Now, you know what I find funny and I've heard you tell this story because I had you tell it on our show before. One of the things I find interesting is that JBL took his time to let you know you forgot Ron. He made sure you drove off just enough so that you could really piss off Ron Simmons. Am I right?
I'm sure he did that. I'm sure it was choreographed. Yeah,
I'm sure he wanted to dig the hole just a little bit deeper. Like, oh, I know he's not in the car. Go ahead, pull off, Teddy. Go ahead. Yeah, not a big deal.
He's good at that. Yeah, he orchestrated it.
Go ahead.
I never knew where the derivation of him saying "damn" came from, but that's got to be it.
But that's where it started, right there, man. I'm telling you.
Guys, I don't normally bring up, politics, but politics and wrestling kind of came together recently as Donald Trump was putting over praise for both Kane and The Undertaker just recently. And I don't want to talk about Trump or the political environment whatsoever, but I am curious. Bill, was there ever anybody else from the political backgrounds that has been involved in wrestling?
Well, Abraham Lincoln, of course.
Well, he was put into the
National Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame back in the 1940s, actually. Any other or Jesse the Body Ventura?
True.
How could we forget him? WWE Hall of Famer. And I'm sure there's a bunch that I haven't thought of. But
he would be the only president, obviously, that there's ever had involved in wrestling outside of
president. I thought you were talking about just politicians. Yeah, in terms of president, that's correct. So when Donald Trump was, and I'm not going to get into politics either, but when Donald Trump the other night, and I believe he was in a few nights ago, before we were taping this, but when he came on and he acknowledged Glenn Jacobs as Kane, what if Glenn Jacobs became the perfect candidate for vice president? Candidate.
I'm not even going there. Yeah, it is wild to me that he has such a connection to WWE, but I find it even more interesting that he is really the only president.
Hall of Famer.
Yes, Hall of Famer. And again, he's the only president outside of Abe Lincoln, as you mentioned, that's ever been involved in wrestling. I just kept wondering, maybe there was somebody I've forgotten that has made an appearance or done something, but I can't recall anybody. At the time, Teddy, when Trump came through WWE and he did his stint with Vince and there, were you working for WWE at that time?
Yeah, I saw him in Green Bay, Wisconsin when he came in and did something there. Then I saw him another time when he came in and did the match where they cut Vince's hair.
Yeah.
I was there for that. And then there was another time I think he was there. I saw him too. So I saw him 2 or 3 times.
He seemed like he was easy to do business with. I'm sorry, go ahead.
There's a classic photo of him, which people can probably find on Google, of him standing between Hulk Hogan and Andre the Giant when they had when they were pumping up one of the WrestleManias. He had the press conference at Trump Tower in Atlantic City.
Yep.
And I was up there, and you can find that the guy he's a big wrestling fan, and you can tell when he talks a lot of times that it's almost like wrestling promos and the way he delivers everything.